Hello everybody and welcome to Outremer Gaming. I am Count Beaumont, aka Matt, and it's very excited to be back after a slight hiatus for my daughter's wedding and a bit of family illness. Today we're going to be talking about Total War Rome the board game, which I know a lot of you are very excited to hear about. We're going to get stuck in today to what's in the box, and here is the said box, Rome Total War. There's loads in it, it's very heavy. This is a prototype obviously, but it's kind of the this is what you're going to get prototype, as close to it as can be. I'm going to go through the contents and chat about it, and then over the next couple of weeks Simon Hall's going to be here, the author of the game. He's going to talk about movement phase, intrigue phase, combat phase, things like that, get you a bit of an idea about how the game works. And then following that we're going to be having a game run through with 4 players, so you can properly see how the game works. So that's all very exciting. As for today, as I said, we're going to go through the box, and without further ado, let's crack on. Okay, so here we are, everything's ready to go. I've unpacked the box, and I'm going to go through the contents. The first thing you get, obviously, is a rule book. It's 50 odd pages. The illustrations are fantastic. I'll put it down there for a sec. On here you get beautifully the usual stuff, a bit of explanation about the game, the different factions, things like that. Before you get into the game itself, so the rules aren't overly complicated. Explains all the different cards, what you'd expect. But first thing I'll say about it is the illustrations are gorgeous. They're absolutely gorgeous, beautifully done, and it's a really nice looking game. So there's your rule book. If we work our way through the box, every army has a set of cards. This is the Carthaginian set. The Carthaginian set, like all the others, has different troop types. You've got Libyan spearmen. Again, the illustrations are superb. I'm not going to go through all of them because we're going to do that, or Simon will do that when he's here to discuss all the different ways to play the game. But you've got spearmen, veteran spearmen, all the different types of troops that a Carthaginian army would have. Everyone's got its own illustration. Balearic slingers, for example. Some of these will come up on the screen, so don't worry if you can't see them. Cavalry, what have you. So each army has got all its troop types, and it's got various generals. You've got mediocre generals who are a bit naff, competent generals who are your standard guys. You've got talented generals who are named, and I think they've all got special abilities. But certainly your legendary general, each army's got one. Hannibal Barca, he's got special abilities, which apparently on here says mercenary expert, battlefield expert. We'll find out what those are when Simon tells us about it. Yeah, I'm not going to go through how any of this works because that's Simon's job. So you get one for each faction. The Romans get one for pre-Marian reforms and post-Marian reforms. And then there's a whole bunch of mercenary cards. The mercenary cards are things like Sarmatian lancers, and when you take the relevant area, you can employ Sarmatian archers or cavalry or whatever it might be. This one is veteran Scythian horse archers or Scythian horse archers. So you capture the relevant region, you can have the relevant units in your army. So that's all I'm going to say about that for now. Each faction's got one of those decks. So that's those. There are some initiative cards. I think there's up to 12, because in theory, if you've got all the expansions, you can play this 12 player. The standard game is 4. pretty sure Simon says, he'll explain it again, that you can go up to 5, maybe 6 in the standard game. This game is Rome Total War, the main game. There is the Alexandria or Alexander expansion, which I know the map's being finished off at the moment. And there's also a senatorial game which you can buy, which uses the same map but different rules, and is a different game pretty much anyway. And I think if you buy the whole package in advance, you get all 3 games if you pay the requisite amount. So that's those. If I reach over here, you then get each faction has got a faction card. So there's Greece, Carthage, Rome and the Barbarians. I'll put down the Greek one for now. If you look at the Greek one, there are various sections. Again, I'm not going to go through them all because Simon's going to do that. But there's a section to tell you whether your other players in the game are allies, friends, or neutral enemy. There's another section that tells you the cost of your units. Now, if you've played Rome Total War, and I played it a heck of a lot, and all the other derivative Total War games, there is a technology tree. And you buy technologies, and you improve your units. You have buildings that you can build that improve your infrastructure. You can build roads and all sorts of stuff. This game, in true honour of the computer game, has got that. So you've got a technology tree where you buy certain developments. The Greek one is phalanx, artillery, mercenary recruiter, extra agents, we'll come to those in a minute, and Olympic Games. So you've got some that help you militarily, you've got some that help you with intrigue in the case of agents, and then Olympic Games is, let's see what Olympic Games says, remove up to 5 unrest markers because your opponent can add unrest markers, making your people unhappy. But again, that'll all get explained. And then this goes down on the board, and your armies go at the bottom here, and your action cards there, and your navies go here. So Simon again will explain how it's all laid out, but you get 4 of those. Then we get the pieces. So you get 3 main pieces. You get navies, if I can find a navy. You get armies, and you get agents. So there are 3 types of unit in the game that have pieces with them. You have your armies, which are very nice, pretty hard plastic, slightly malleable, but you know, they're pretty robust. This is a Roman legionary, of course. You've got a Carthaginian spearman, and we have a barbarian, a cheeky barbarian rampaging towards you, and we have a Greek spearman. The Greek spearman, here we are, Greek spearman. So you have a Greek spearman, which is a little bit thinner, and I'm pretty certain that will be straightened out by the time the game comes. Greek spearman, Roman, Carthaginian, and Gaul. Each faction gets a couple, 2 or 3 agents, which are these guys that sneak around, and we can say, I'm pretty sure that's a scroll. You can do diplomacy, you can do intrigue, you can sow unrest. Again, we discussed all of that in another video. And then you get your fleets, and the fleets and the armies obviously move around the board as in any other board game. They move around the board, and the fleets obviously move around the sea, and the agents rampage around into other people's territories, and sow mischief, etc. So those are the pieces, very nice hard plastic pieces. I should mention the board at this stage because it's already laid out. Here it is, Rome Total War, very nice. It's one of these tri-fold things that folds in and out like that, and safely goes away in the box. They're fairly standard these days in games. You've got your victory points chart, you've got your sea regions, your land regions, and you've got various things again which I'm not going to go into on here. I can't even remember what the numbers mean. I've only played it once. I was very lucky to play it once. But you've got all your different nations, and this is the board game for the standard Rome Total War 4-player, 5-player board game. You've got your barbarians, your Greeks, your Carthaginians, your Romans. I think the barbarians can split into 2, and there might be some other nations as well that you can play on this game. But as a rule, it's a 4-player game is the standard. And then in here we've also got money counters, your standard money, there's loads of them. You've got your 5s, I'm guessing these are, and these are 1s, pretty standard stuff. But there's loads of those, very nice. Then what you've also got is they're called action cards. I like to call them intrigue cards. And these are cards that have your special cards that you can play during the turn in different phases. Not going to go through them, but there are different ones. There's one for the campaign phase. There's these are all for the campaign phase. Some of them are for movement. Some of them are for improving the efficiency of your general. Those ones are all campaign phase cards. If we flick through them, they're all campaign phase. And then we have spending phase. We have any phase. Let's just take this one for example. Regional revolt. Remove control marker from any conquered region with no army. So I'll come back to control markers in just a second. So that's one that you can play in different phases. Campaign phase, agent phase, again, which is a phase when obviously you move your agents and get up to no good in your enemy areas, or offer alliances, etc. I think Simon would say that you can play this game without doing much military at all and without much combat. I think that combat will come into it for most players at some point, but pretty much you can build up your economy, you can use intrigue, and you can win the game without fighting a battle, in theory, although that's probably unlikely. And there we have the markers that very nice counters to show who controls what region, one for each faction, and obviously you've got your home regions, and then when you capture other regions, you place these on there to show which regions you've captured. So there's a whole bunch of those, and they're very nice. And then we have, this is in the standard game. If you haven't bought it as a pledge, if you bought it as a pledge, you get proper sculpted, which I haven't got here to show you, but you get proper sculpted versions of these. You've got barrackses, you've got markets, you've got roads, you've got fortresses, and I believe when every region, a region has got all of these, you can then build a monument. So there's a whole load of these to use, and as I say, if you pledged, you get much nicer versions of these. And Simon would want me to point out that if you do pledge in advance, you either get a 40% discount, or you get it at 40% of the retail price. Don't know exactly which, but what I do know is it is a healthy reduction on the overall cost. Me and my gaming group, we pledged and we bought the entire lot. We bought all the different games, all the different fancy counters. The money, you get nice metallic feeling money counters. And it's an all-in package that's well worth the investment. I know there is still time to do that, because I think it's coming out in 2024. So do consider investing in advance. So I'm just trying to see. I think I've probably gone through all the contents there. As I say, I'm not going to go through the rules of the game at all. Simon's going to do that. But there's your contents of the box. I, as a Rome Total War player of many years and many wasted hours standing, can attest I'm very excited about playing this game. I have played it once. It's very good, and I'm looking forward to it coming out. So I think we'll leave it there. I hope you enjoy the video. Do subscribe to my channel if you're happy to do so. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps me. And I'll look forward to seeing you soon with Simon Hall, the author, and we'll go through how to play the game. So see you soon. Thanks very much.